Hi, I'm Elena Voss, 34, systems engineer. I design architectures that stand unbreakable, yet my kin crumbles under their own weight. My dad bellows to claim dominance. My mom beams to maintain harmony. My sibling thrives on charisma and loans, while I sustain their entire orbit. Supper carried the scent of prime rib and entitlement. My home, my vintage, their chuckles. Victor sliced the roast, lauding Jake's domain. He barely glanced my way. Then he uttered it, steady, assured, vicious. We'd prefer if Jake were our sole offspring. The group concurred. Even the overhead light concurred. A chill settled within me, then sharpened. I grinned. Very well, I'll ensure that becomes reality. Utensils halted in suspension. No one inhaled. I set down my cloth and rose. The seat rasped. Decisive, the entrance latched softly. Beyond, the chill nipped sharply. They assumed I'd shatter. I merely started assembling. From which vantage are you observing this evening? Has a meal ever resembled a trial? The quiet stretched across 2 days following that feast. 0 rings, 0 notes, not a single offhand ping. I looped the scene endlessly in my mind. Their mirth, the affirmations, the manner in which my dad beamed once he'd excised me. It was nearly graceful how malice conceals itself amid familial decorum. I steeped herbal that evening, fingers yet quivering. Vapor clouded the galley pane like a hazed recollection. For decades I'd bankrolled their tranquility. The home loan, the vehicles, Jake's recent pursuits. They termed it collective funds. I deemed it sentimental levy. My device buzzed at last on the 4th dawn. Mother's tone emerged, composed yet edged. Elena, your dad's profoundly distressed. You shamed him. I gazed at the vessel gripped in my palm, truly. He didn't intend it, she pressed. She exhaled. It was in jest. He voiced it, I countered. And you affirmed. A hush fell. Then the true motive emerged. Jake's housing payment looms. You haven't replenished the shared ledger. The phrases struck fiercer than the slight. Even then they sought not my presence. They craved my circuitry. I'd reverted to mere framework once more. It's not collective funds, Mom. It's solely mine. Her timbre fractured. Avoid the theatrics. You're wounding us? No, I stated. I'm at last concluding the wounds. Her inflection stiffened. Your sibling relies on you. I understand, I noted. That's precisely the flaw. I disconnected prior to the remorse solidifying. The gadget weighed dense, akin to clutching eras of duty. For the initial instance, quietude evoked serenity. They nurtured a supporter, not a child, and she had just tendered notice. Quietude no longer rang hollow. It rang structured like pristine script. 3 dawns absent their pull illuminated all. My heartbeat eased, my reflections ordered. If I'd served as their sustainer, this marked the disengagement stage. I launched my console in the gloom. Azure glow bathed the space serene. Panels materialized like tribunal displays. Home loan, autos, services, remittances, affiliations. Each entry murmured my identity. 16 years crafting frameworks that endured without collapse. This night I was refining my existence. I marked repeating fees and frivolous affiliations. I outputted ledgers and tagged directories. Vouchers assembled a document framework on the workstation. At 10:18 p.m. I dialed Alex Rivera. He picked up promptly. Elena, it's advanced hour, thus impeccably timed. The heirs mistook the overseer for the holdings. A pause, hence we reinstate division and authority. Comprehensive review. Suspend every ledger. Gradual termination. He sought no explanations. He identified this iteration of me. By witching hour the estate interface displayed secured. Automated disbursements lined to lapse at interval. Entry codes nullified. Plastics inactivated. Each validation dispatch landed like subdued reckoning. I composed a displacement directive for Oak Ridge. 60 days mandated express conveyance. The dwelling they dubbed communal was mine anew. I readied the sworn declaration of possession. 0 vagueness. 0 escapes permitted. I messaged the estate overseer the termination. Enclosed contract, endorsement, and deed files. The chronograph evoked a concluding mallet. At 2:14 a.m., the examiner responded. She vowed to commence investigative pursuit at first light. Suppliers, facades, fabricated bills, private extractions. She pledged traces wherever capital strayed. I relayed secured vaults for her scrutiny. Review chain, exhaustive and sequential. I halted and observed the metropolis pulse. Beams grazed the waterway like fluid timers. In the pain, I appeared utterly anchored. Authority wasn't boisterous. Authority resonated as lack of supplication. I percolated brew and scoured the surface. I polished arcs until haze vanished. This as well evoked upkeep concluding. I stored ancient dispatches from my mom. Show mercy, he's fragile, kinship paramount. I preserved them in a repository dubbed Climate. Then I inscribed fresh guidelines for myself. Refuse to finance disdain. Refuse to underwrite rejection. Refuse to compensate for obscurity. If affection requires obliteration, reject the plea. If allegiance depletes you, nullify entry. If serenity exacts verity, select verity. At 5:22 a.m., the heavens commenced seeping slate. Avians probed the dawn with tentative calls. I shut the final pane and released breath. Quietude persisted, yet it felt selected. Serenity bore framework boundaries, protocols upholding. Beyond, the metropolis illuminated sans fanfare. A kinship realm had toppled in a single eve, and I persisted respiring, composed, and intentional. They labeled me icy. They confounded composure with approval. Have you ever served as the sole binder of all? Remark 1 if you were groomed to mend every fracture. Remark 2 if you ultimately mended your core. The conference chamber reeked of documents and influence. Alex's quarters, transparent metallic daylight carving exact edges. Jake perched opposite, fidgety and ashen. He donned a tire I likely financed. Fine, Elena, he ventured, timbre quaking. You've driven the lesson home. You're dismantling us. I propelled a dossier over the surface. It settled with a gentle, purposeful impact. Alex, I instructed, commence please. Alex refined his lenses, timbre firm. Mr. Voss, our investigative review uncovered numerous irregularities. Jake scowled. What irregularities? Alex unveiled the compendium. Vouchers, electronic shifts, bills unfolding like proofs in languid progression. The $92,000 platform creation plea, Alex noted. The platform was a $600 framework. The hosting ran $75. The surplus $83.25 flowed to an automobile, a getaway, and timepieces. Jake's complexion bled hue. Those were launch outlays, he faltered, cultivating the identity. You cultivated pilferage, I murmured softly, not an identity. Alex flipped to the subsequent sheet. Moreover, we detected falsified endorsements on 3 credit forms. He fixed on Jake. Yours, mimicking her mark, the chamber iced. Even the atmosphere appeared to suspend respiration. Jake fixed on me, gaze frantic. Pops endorsed it, he bellowed. He claimed you'd scarcely detect. Alex arched a ridge. Your sire knew? Jake's mandible quivered. He aided me. He declared it communal funds. The declaration lingered like haze, dense, irrefutable. The whole facade splintered. I inclined nearer, serene as a ruling. There exists no communal funds, Jake. Solely mine. Quietude bore down on the barriers. Alex sealed the dossier with muted accuracy. What transpires next? Jake breathed. Juridically, Alex stated, she may initiate proceedings. Various infractions. Jake's gaze brimmed, the act crumbling. Elena, I implore, abstain. I ascended. My liberality formed your buffer. It's withdrawn. He lunged for the dossier. I withdrew it. My reticence forms your dismissal. Alex inclined once, affirming the phrases. I'll record accordingly, he noted. I strode to the casement, viewing daylight splinter across structures. Influence didn't resound boisterously. It resounded terminal. Trailing me, I caught a wail, then an oath. Jake grumbled. Pops will raise you. I pivoted, locking gazes. No, I stated, he already raised you. Alex vented air. Thus concluded, affirmative, I stated. Utterly. The compendium's seal reverberated like equity dispensed. The apparatus they'd erected upon my frame had ceased. He pilfered currency. I recouped the full apparatus. The repercussions arrived swifter than anticipated. In mere days, quietude morphed to onslaught. Rings, notes, menaces cloaked in remorse. They deemed me harsh, thankless, deranged. I offered no retort. I catalogued all, proofs, not sentiments. Then arrived the kinship inquest. My sire convened all to Oak Ridge. Sabbath, 4 p.m. his dispatch. Moment to resolve this. I presented punctually, no longer the visitor. The dwelling seemed contracted, weightier, weary. My sire occupied the apex, akin to a deposed monarch. My mom's gaze was puffy, her beads quivering. Jake hovered near the casement, uneasy and undone. Aunt Laura and Uncle Ethan bookended the settee, their reticence dense with censure. Elena, my sire, initiated, timbre practiced, frail. We gather since we cherish. I nearly chuckled. Cherish appears intriguing on you. You've turned spiteful, he pressed on. This crusade versus us, it's alien to you, he motioned toward my mom. She slumbers not. You're slaying her, my mother drew breath. We possess no refuge. You possess all I financed, I noted, but you lack me. That's your sire's abode, she retorted sharply. It's my corporation's holding, I responded levelly. My sire's visage shadowed. You'll lament this dominance spree. I delved into my satchel. The review summary struck the surface like a mallet. You desired a summit, I stated. Behold the outline. Alex's mark on the exterior, scores of sheets trailing, validation, not compassion. Jake recoiled, my sire's mandible clenched. Aunt Laura inclined, intrigue edging her fury. This, I declared, depicts kinship larceny, my sire derided, fabrications every bit. Then bid him refute it, I stated, gesturing at Jake. Jake's mouth quivered. He regarded me, then our sire. You directed me to, he erupted. You claimed she'd scarcely perceive. My mother inhaled sharply. The chamber splintered. I remained positioned, serene as review script. You exploited me, I uttered gently. The pair of you? My sire elevated, digits trembling. You owe us deference. No, I stated, I compensated for it. You expended it. He stiffened. The burden of fact pinned him. I rose gradual and firm. This summit concludes, my mother murmured, timbre splintering. You're no progeny of mine. I lingered at the portal. That's the premier truthful utterance you've made. Beyond, gusts bore the resonance of terminations. The realm had tumbled in its private parlor. They presumed this a conflict. It was a review. The dwelling conveyed in 8 days. Swift, pristine, sans ritual. The yields funneled into my vault soundlessly. No festivity, no remorse, merely a period. Alex managed the reallocations exact as ever. Well done, he murmured gently. It's resolution, I countered, not triumph. I relocated to a compact space urban core. Fewer chambers amplified serenity, not within evoked duty. A moon hence, my mom penned, not to dispute, not to plead. Merely a missive, inscribed by hand, tentative. She noted my sire pursued counsel. She noted laboring sporadically felt odd, yet stabilizing. She closed with quartet phrases I never foresaw. You proved eternally correct. I shed no tears. I creased the missive, stowed it in a compartment. Mending announces not. It manifests softly. Weeks elapsed. I established a grant bearing my name. For females in technology who forged calm from coercion. For offspring who bore excess prematurely. At the event, I encountered the inaugural awardees. They embodied potential pure, radiant, unfractured, bold. One lass inquired, how did you discern the cessation of yielding? I grinned. When I grasped, yielding isn't affection. It's solely affection sans soul's toll. The throng held still, then inclined. They comprehended sans ovation. I wandered residents beneath lanterns, the metropolis droning mild endorsement. For eras, I'd embodied the framework sustaining others' motion. Now I was liberated algorithm, revised, possessed wholly. They forfeited a sustainer. I discovered an individual. Have you ever needed to select serenity over kinship? If this narrative reached you timely, endorse, disseminate, and join, and recount your viewing locale.